truck sits abandoned on a dark Texas highway. Hazard lights blinking, doors unlocked, keys in the ignition. But the driver? Gone. Just 19 minutes earlier, he made a 911 call so disturbing, so cryptic, that it would be analyzed by thousands of people for over a decade. I'm in a field. There's someone chasing me. I need the cops. But when police arrived, there was no one there. No blood, no signs of struggle. Just an empty truck and a man who had vanished into the Texas night. This is the story of Brandon Lawson, an oil field worker, a father of 4, and a man whose final moments remain one of America's most haunting mysteries. What happened in those 19 minutes? And what did he see out there in the darkness that terrified him so badly, he ran from his only way home? Before we dive into this case, if you're fascinated by true crime mysteries that keep investigators up at night, if you're listening right now, help me prove something wrong. My mother said I wouldn't even reach 1,000 subscribers, but I believe stories like this deserve to be heard. Help me show her that these tales matter. We cover cases like this every week, and trust me, you won't want to miss what we've got coming. Have you ever heard of the Brandon Lawson case? Because what you're about to hear might just change everything you thought you knew about missing persons cases. Now let's go back to August 8th, 2013. San Angelo, Texas. The night everything changed, Brandon Lawson was a 26-year-old oil field worker living in San Angelo with his girlfriend of 10 years, Ladessa Lofton, and their 4 children. By all accounts, he was a hard-working guy, trying to provide for his family in the demanding Texas oil fields. But on the night of August 8th, things weren't going well. Brandon and Ladessa had gotten into an argument. The details of that fight have never been fully disclosed. But whatever happened, it was serious enough that Brandon decided he needed space. Around 11:30 p.m., he got into his pickup truck and told Ladessa he was driving to his father's house in Crowley, about 3.5 hours away. Ladessa watched him leave. She had no idea it would be the last time she'd ever see him. Brandon headed north on U.S. Route 277, a lonely stretch of highway that cuts through rural West Texas. It's the kind of road where you can drive for miles without seeing another soul. Just darkness, open fields, and the occasional ranch. But somewhere around midnight, just south of the small town of Bronte, Brandon's truck ran out of gas. Now here's where things start to get strange. At 12:38 a.m., Brandon called his brother Kyle. He told him he'd run out of gas and needed help. Kyle said he'd head out right away, but it would take him about 30 minutes to get there. Brandon said okay, he'd wait. But Brandon Lawson didn't wait. Because at 12:54 a.m., just 16 minutes after calling his brother, Brandon placed a frantic 911 call that would become one of the most analyzed pieces of audio in true crime history. Let me play you a portion of that call, and I'm warning you, it's disturbing description of audio. The call is only 58 seconds long, but it's chaotic. Brandon sounds terrified, out of breath. The audio quality is poor, distorted, which has made it incredibly difficult to understand exactly what he's saying. But here's what investigators and audio analysts have been able to piece together. Brandon says he's in a field. He mentions someone or some guys and that they're chasing him. He asks for police. At one point, it sounds like he says, "We're not talking to them," or "They're not talking to me." There are references to something about a state trooper. Possibly that one had already been by. The call is confusing, panicked, and it ends abruptly. The 911 dispatcher tried calling Brandon back multiple times. No answer. Meanwhile, a deputy sheriff was dispatched to the location, and Kyle, Brandon's brother, was still on his way to help with the gas situation. Kyle arrived first, around 1 a.m. He found Brandon's truck right where it should be, on the shoulder of Highway 277, hazard lights flashing, doors unlocked. The keys were in the ignition, but Brandon was nowhere to be found. Kyle called out for his brother. Nothing. He searched the immediate area with his flashlight. Still nothing. When the deputy arrived minutes later, they searched together. No Brandon, no signs of a struggle, no blood, no evidence of any kind. Kyle kept calling Brandon's phone. It rang until 1:19 a.m., and then it went dead. After that, every call went straight to voicemail, as if the phone had been turned off or destroyed. But here's what makes this even more bizarre. Remember, Brandon called 911 saying someone was chasing him, right? So where were they? If there had been another vehicle, Kyle should have seen it when he arrived. If there had been a confrontation, there should have been evidence. Instead, there was just an empty truck and a man who had completely vanished. In the days and weeks that followed, law enforcement launched massive searches of the area. Volunteers combed through fields. Cadaver dogs were brought in. Helicopters scanned from above. Nothing. Ladessa, Brandon's girlfriend, was devastated. She told police about their argument, but insisted Brandon had no reason to just disappear. He loved his kids. He'd never abandoned them. The 911 call became the center of attention. True crime communities online began analyzing every second of that audio, trying to decipher what Brandon had said, what he had seen. Theories exploded across the internet. Had Brandon witnessed something illegal? Maybe a drug deal gone wrong in rural Texas? Was he running from someone who meant him harm? Had he gotten disoriented in the darkness and fallen into a ravine or hidden creek bed? Was foul play involved? The Help Find Brandon Lawson Facebook page grew to thousands of members, all dedicated to finding answers. But as months turned into years, the trail went cold. Brandon's family refused to give up hope, but law enforcement had no new leads. The case became another unsolved mystery, another family left in limbo. 1 year passed, then 5, then 10. Brandon Lawson had become a ghost story on a Texas highway until February 2022. A volunteer search team, led by a missing persons advocate named Jason Watts, decided to conduct their own search of the area near where Brandon's truck had been found. On February 4th, 2022, nearly 9 years after Brandon disappeared, they found clothing in a field, clothing that matched what Brandon had been wearing that night. They immediately contacted the Texas Rangers. Within days, law enforcement located human remains less than 1 mile from where Brandon's truck had run out of gas. The remains were sent for DNA analysis. But because of the condition of the remains and the backlog in forensic labs, the process took time. A lot of time. The Lawson family waited. The true crime community held its breath. And then on December 25th, 2024, Christmas Day of all days, the results came back. The remains were confirmed to be Brandon Lawson. After 11 years, 3 months, and 16 days, Brandon had been found. But the discovery didn't bring closure. If anything, it raised even more questions. Because here's the thing. Brandon's remains were found less than 1 mile from his truck. Less than 1 mile. That means all those massive searches, all those volunteers, all those trained law enforcement officers with dogs and helicopters, they had all somehow missed him. How? And more importantly, what happened to him out there? The authorities have not released an official cause of death, but the case has been classified as a suspected homicide. That word, homicide, changes everything. If Brandon died from exposure or an accident, why classify it as homicide? What evidence do they have that we don't know about? The truth is, we may never know exactly what happened to Brandon Lawson on that August night in 2013. But here's what we do know. Brandon was a father who loved his children. He was a hardworking man who got into an argument with his girlfriend and decided to drive to his dad's house to cool off. His truck ran out of gas on a dark, isolated highway. He called his brother for help. And then something happened. Something that terrified him so badly, he called 911, ran into a field, and never made it back. Was he chased by someone with bad intentions? Did he witness something he shouldn't have? Was there a tragic accident that led to his death? The Texas Rangers have the case classified as a suspected homicide, which means they believe someone else was involved in Brandon's death. But without more information, we're left with more questions than answers. What we can say is this: Brandon Lawson deserves justice. His family deserves answers. And his 4 children deserve to know what happened to their father. The case may be closed in terms of finding Brandon, but the mystery of what happened to him that night remains wide open. So what do you think happened to Brandon Lawson? Do you believe he was murdered? Do you think he witnessed something dangerous? Or is there another explanation we haven't considered? Drop your theories in the comments below. And if you've never heard that 911 call, I encourage you to look it up and listen for yourself. But be warned, it's haunting. If this case affected you the way it affected me, please consider sharing this video. Brandon's story deserves to be told, and the more people who know about it, the better our chances of someone somewhere knowing something that could help. Don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into cases like this. Hit that like button if you appreciate the research that goes into these videos. And remember, behind every true crime case is a real person, a real family, and real grief that never fully goes away. Brandon Lawson's family waited 11 years for answers. They finally know where he is. Now they deserve to know what happened. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and never stop asking questions.